Hold on to your seats folks, because today we are going on a ride with the all new Ubuntu 24.04 LTS aka Noble Numbat. Ubuntu LTS versions are the world's most popular, most used Linux distros, and this new version of Ubuntu 2 is a long-term support version, and it's a freaking huge deal because this system will be used by millions of people around the globe very soon. The next mega iteration of this super Linux distribution is packed with new features, major improvements, and some exciting surprises. Ubuntu 24.04 LTS brings a completely redesigned software center with a sleek and modern interface, the latest GNOME 46 desktop as your window to the digital world, an improved installer with simpler options, and extended support for up to 12 years. 12 years, that's commitment. I've been playing around with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS ever since the daily builds started dropping, and it's a surreal feeling. I think that some of the new things here are going to have a big impact on Ubuntu's future and even the way we use desktop Linux, especially the 9th point in this video. You don't want to miss that. As the most used Linux distro, this version is going to be the de facto desktop Linux for the next few years. So it's high time we jumped in and had a look at the new Ubuntu and the new things it brings. Houston, we are taking off with Noble Numbat. Alright, let's kick this list off with the biggest change we see here. Ubuntu 24.04 brings a completely redesigned software center here. Yeah, take a moment and soak it in. Ubuntu's new App Center is built using the Flutter framework and it looks super sleek. Compared to the old GNOME software store, this looks modern, feels faster, and it's definitely an upgrade. I never really had a great experience with GNOME software store, so I'm really liking this. Okay, first impression, I really like the design here. It's a complete redesign and it feels fresh. You get a sections panel on the left and applications on the right. The application cards look very clean but provide a good amount of info nonetheless. The app icon, name, app creator, what the app does, and we even get a collective community review here. This is great design. You can see banners that let you jump to curated set of applications. These banners look very premium. Then we also get in-depth categories here. Now these are not on this side panel here but are inside the Explore section. These categories supplemented by these banners enhance the application discovery. People are going to browse around and find apps that are going to be useful for them. The work done here to promote discoverability of apps is commendable, as this is going to be beneficial to users of all skill levels, especially people who are new to Linux. And this is the app page and it provides a complete overview of the app. Community reviews with oaths, download size, license, version number, and published dates are given along with links to developers. Now, continuing in Ubuntu's Pro Snap vision, we see the next step here. All the apps displayed here are snaps. In this new software store, snaps are first-class citizens and .deb apps are nowhere to be seen. You get a search bar at the top. You can search for and get to apps quickly here. Now, when you search for something, the results show you snaps only and you have to change the filter to see and install Debian packages. But sometimes you see both snaps and deb apps auto-completed here. Accessing and installing Debian packages is a bit more difficult now, and I dislike the fact that there are no deb apps featured in any page. I hope at least they get their own featured page here, but I'm glad Debian packages are available here. Anyway, I think it's time to install the good old Synaptic Package Manager to use .deb apps here. Then, the App Center's Manage page lets you view, update and delete installed apps. This too is work nicely done as it lets you see your installed apps using various filters here. This page also lets you check for updates and update all the apps installed on your system in one go. But it doesn't let you delete apps in bulk. You need to go to the app page and delete the app from there. There too, the uninstall option is hidden in the More button. All in all, this is a fantastic software manager, and for people who are using the older LTS versions of Ubuntu, this is going to be a big change. But I really enjoyed this new software center. The new logo is pretty cool too. The new Ubuntu brings GNOME 46 desktop environment, and this is a breath of fresh air. GNOME 40 series is getting polishing touches with every iteration and it's evolved into a premium experience now. The latest update, that is GNOME 46, makes its way into Ubuntu 24.04, but of course in Ubuntu colors. Ubuntu's own Yaru shell and application team together with Yaru icons have created a unique identity for Ubuntu, and it just gets better here. The desktop looks super clean and intriguing at the same time. This is a big visual jump up from Ubuntu 22.04 LTS to 24.04 LTS. The icons have a subtle charm and the applications here look so uniform and just superior. One thing that I absolutely loved is these new toggles. But it's not just about the looks. Gnome 46 brings many performance and functionality improvements as well. The Files app now gets a new global search that lets you find files and folders from anywhere in the file system. This search button is for global search and this search button is to find files in the current folder. The Settings app has received many changes this time around. The online accounts part has been completely revamped under the hood. Now we also get OneDrive support, and when you log in, instead of a web window here, the signing takes place in your default browser. This is very good for security and convenient too. A new system section has been created here, grouping together settings for region and language, date and time, users, remote desktop, secure shell, and about. The remote desktop option uses the RDP protocol and it even supports remote system login. Mouse and touchpad settings have also been improved, and now an option to disable the touchpad while typing is provided. This simple toggle is going to be very beneficial in certain apps and games. Apart from these, many settings have been moved around, regrouped and consolidated to make the navigation here easier. The Settings app is the highlight of the Gnome 46 update, but there are polishing touches everywhere. And to that, Ubuntu adds its own visual update since the last LTS version. So people coming from Ubuntu 22.04 LTS and previous versions are going to find the new Ubuntu to be a big visual refresh. Ubuntu 24.04 brings in a brand new installer and a revamped installation experience. Ubuntu pioneered simple and humane Linux installation. For a newcomer, Ubuntu has always been the most desirable Linux distro as far as installation and getting started with it are concerned. While Ubuntu completely modernizes its installation experience, it nonetheless continues in its tradition of being extremely easy to get started with. Ubuntu's new installer is created with Flutter, and that modern and sleek design language is evident here. There is a touch of minimalism. Things are kept simple. This new installer gives you the accessibility options at the beginning of the process itself. This is just awesome. And all the options are given here, so Ubuntu can be installed independently by even more people. Apart from that, the installation process is pretty similar as before, but it has been streamlined wherever they have found the opportunity. There are two kinds of installation processes. The regular installation is now called interactive installation. Then we get an automated installation procedure which automates everything using an autoinstall.yaml configuration file. This option is going to be great for advanced users and system admins. NixOS is particularly famous for this option, and now we get it here in Ubuntu as well. Then you get to choose what kind of installation you want. The default selection gives you a very minimal system. It includes the Ubuntu base along with full desktop environment, this Firefox browser, file manager, app center and a few other essentials and system utilities. There's no LibreOffice and other additional software installed by default. This is going to be a fantastic option for people who prefer to build a personalized system. But the extended option is going to be the best option for most people in my opinion, as it's going to give you a system that's ready for action immediately after installation. I'm going with that. Moving on, it's the same process. Opt in if you want proprietary drivers and multimedia codecs, then select the partition you want Ubuntu to be installed on and continue. Ubuntu rewriting its installer in Flutter is a great move as it brings a visual overhaul, it's fast and it's also a great experience for developers to work on it, and I really like using it. Still, it's still not as mature and solid as Ubuntu's old installer Ubiquity. There are a few bugs and glitches here. Few people have reported trouble during partitioning, but I expect those issues to be fixed in the near future itself. Ubuntu really simplifies Linux for everyday users. It provides graphical interfaces for everything, and you generally don't have to use the terminal for anything. But of course, the terminal is where the real power of Linux is. Having a good knowledge of Linux commands and being comfortable using the terminal really broadens what you can do with Linux and what kind of experience you are going to get here. So if you're interested in leveling up your Linux game, definitely check out my course Linux Mastery Express, which is the fastest way to learn Linux and start using Linux like a pro. I'll teach you a set of commands that will give you the confidence to use Linux without even a graphical user interface. Then we'll dive deep and learn how to use the V-editor and master shell scripting with real-life examples. After teaching more than 100 students in person, I've curated this course with the top things that will level up your Linux skills the fastest. So if you're feeling like your Linux game is stuck in the same spot for too long and you're ready to take your Linux skills to the next level quickly, check out the link in the description below and get your Linux Mastery Express. We are running a massive 45% discount right now, so make use of it. Ubuntu 24.04 LTS comes with an extended live support of 12 impressive years. Gone are the days where you absolutely needed to update your Ubuntu every 5 years. Now you can install Ubuntu 24.04 and forget about it for a decade and a bit more. Let's break this down. Ubuntu 24.04 LTS is going to get the standard 5 years support, the same as other LTS versions. But with Ubuntu Pro subscription, you're going to get additional 7 years of support. Previously, this was 5 years. And how much does this Ubuntu Pro subscription cost, you ask? Ubuntu Pro is free for personal use for up to 5 devices. So this 12-year support comes with no strings attached for individual users. While for most individual users, 5 years of normal support is good enough. Great, in fact. I think it's better that you update after 5 years anyway. For them, this might not mean a lot, but it is nevertheless a great extension. If you have long-term projects or hobby servers running, if you freelance or do solo work, this extension option is going to be a godsend after 5 years. And if you have home servers or media servers, this is going to be awesome. I think this extension is also amazing for the planet, as it might save some hardware from retiring and prevent e-waste and stuff. The new Ubuntu is powered by Linux kernel version 6.8. Now this is going to be the next LTS version of the Linux kernel as well, and it comes with some big improvements and enhancements. With a huge set of driver updates, you can expect a performance boost on Ubuntu 24.04 thanks to this kernel. AMD is the star of this show, as this kernel brings updates to many AMD drivers. AMD CPUs and GPUs receive many enhancements this time around, boosting the performance and battery life. There are many new features for AMD users here, like AMD Dynamic Boost Control, which gives you more control over your device's performance profile. Then there's the AMD FreeSync panel replay support, which will make your laptop smoother in certain situations. Thermal management has been retuned here, and this is going to result in a more balanced performance delivery on laptops using both Intel and AMD processors, and better battery life as well. Linux 6.8 also introduces the EEVDF scheduler. Now, schedulers are a huge factor in what kind of performance you are going to get, and EEVDF has made a lot of noise in the community, so this is another great update. This new scheduler promises improved performance, reduced latency, and better efficiency. Overall, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS comes with a power-packed engine under the hood, and it's gonna deliver a punchy computing experience. Every new version of Ubuntu brings in a new set of wallpapers and a new default wallpaper based on the codename of the release. This time it being Noble Numbat, we get this. 2 artistic Numbats sitting on a crown. The crown symbolizes Noble, and it also looks great here, this being the 20th anniversary year of Ubuntu. Yeah, Ubuntu debuted in October of 2004. That's 20 years ago. Feel old yet? This wallpaper is available in both dark and light variants. I really like this wallpaper with this Numbat here. Looks surreal, doesn't it? Then there are these 2 wallpapers which have this American Southwest kinda modernist style, and I'm surprised at how well they fit in here. The colors and the icons on this panel, it just comes together nicely. I have something to say here. Now I'm huge on desktop customization. I install the tweak tool first thing when I install a distro. Wallpapers downloaded from the internet, icon packs, themes, yeah, I do the whole shebang. But this setup looks so good that I forgot about all that. I could use this as it comes. Loved it. Ubuntu 24.04 LTS will not ship with any games pre-installed. Ubuntu has always had pre-installed games like Mines, Solitaire and Mahjong. But Ubuntu developers feel that these games are not representative of what gaming on Ubuntu is like today, and they have removed them from the default installation. And I agree. Gaming on Ubuntu and Linux in general is amazing today. You can play many amazing games by downloading them from the App Center or even Steam. Top AAA titles are playable on Linux thanks to Proton. And I think not many people really engage in these pre-installed games anyway. Sure, for some they are absolute time killers, but most people don't play these in my opinion. While the absence of these games does make me feel nostalgic. I mean, I grew up with Mines and card games on computers, be it on Linux or Windows, and back in time where we didn't have internet access, these games could be real fun at times. Anyway, if you want, you can install them from the App Center. Actually, do check out the gaming section on the App Center. It's absolutely loaded, and don't forget to check out Steam. Let me just repeat it here. No games are installed by default, but you can install those games and many more from the App Center here or using Steam. We get a new Firmware Updater application here. Pop OS already has a firmware updater and it's a great way of updating firmware. Updating firmware manually can be a bit messy. Downloading the updates manually and applying them can be some work, and you have to be very careful as well. With this new app, updating the BIOS, firmware for GPUs, network devices, storage devices, and even CPU microcode, which are generally included in BIOS and UEFI updates, can be done easily here. Firmware updates generally contain important security patches and even improve the performance of your devices. But when updating firmware, make sure your computer is plugged into a reliable power source and do not interrupt the computer when doing firmware updates. Also, have a backup of your important data before updating firmwares. And if you are not familiar with this or have important or critical systems running on your system, you can ignore or defer these updates. Continuing in its snapification work, Ubuntu now brings us the Thunderbird email client as a snap. After Firefox, this is another core app to be delivered as a snap instead of a .deb package. Ubuntu has been bullish on snaps, and even the App Store displays more snaps than .deb packages on most pages. As usual, people who don't use Ubuntu or snaps will hate this decision, and people who use Ubuntu and snaps will get access to the latest version of Thunderbird that's also very stable and bug-free. Me, I'm an innocent bystander in this shindig. I'll not face the wrath of snap haters by saying that this is a good decision, and I'll not get smirked on by snap lovers by saying that this is a bad decision. Heck, I don't even use Thunderbird. Ubuntu will not provide a .deb version in its repositories. So if you don't want to use the snap version, a third-party PPA to get the .deb version is linked in the description. You can also download the app from the Thunderbird website. Also, Linux Mint will package Thunderbird as a .deb and support it once Mint 22 comes out, so I guess that will be a way to use that on Ubuntu as well. There are 3 improvements in the notifications. First one coming directly from Gnome 46. The notification card layout has been retouched to show the app name from which the notification comes. Second, now it's possible to expand and collapse notifications, so you can take actions on notifications whenever you want to. You can keep a notification in the bay and just collapse it to deal with it later. Third, coming from Ubuntu, it's now possible to directly update a Snap app from the notifications. Whenever a Snap app update is available, you'll get a notification and you can choose to update it from the notification actions itself. This is a really intelligent touch-up, as this is going to save a lot of time in the long run. In addition to all the above mentioned updates and enhancements, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS also brings an updated set of packages. That means better security, faster performance, and more features, thanks to updates and bug fixes to individual packages. Ubuntu LTS versions are stability-oriented distros. They aim to provide a reliable, stable computing platform that's also predictable. To do this, every LTS version has to be conservative with updates, but a new version of Ubuntu LTS jumps up these versions to nearly contemporary numbers while still maintaining that predictability and reliability. So with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, you can expect modern features from all the applications you use, up-to-date yet stable versions of programming languages and libraries, and feature-rich versions of all the tools and toys you use here. But that's not all. Ubuntu 24.04 also comes with few other updates, improvements, and new features that are planned for the near future. Now these updates are not planned for the next version of Ubuntu LTS, but Ubuntu 24.04 LTS itself. We'll not get into it, but let me quickly list out what's in the talks. Firstly, there's a dedicated Ubuntu security app that's being talked about. This will handle things like managing permissions and stuff. Then, the application icons in the dock here might get badges like those on smartphones to highlight any notifications or actions needed. It's going to be useful. Then, there is talk about huge performance improvement plans. Now, this is going to give us a set of advanced tools using a performance tools meta package, which will allow us to have greater control over performance tweaking in Ubuntu. Alright, there you have it. Everything new in Ubuntu and some spicy news of what might come in the future. Ubuntu 24.04's release is set for the last week of April 2024, and this is going to be awesome. I'm really excited. This is going to be the biggest release in the Linux world in quite a time now. So yeah, absolutely stoked for this. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and turn on all notifications. Do that, turn on all notifications. We'll be doing many more videos on the new Ubuntu, so definitely turn on the notifications to catch them as soon as they're out. Don't miss out on them because they are gonna be awesome. And if you're interested in leveling up your Linux skills, the link to my course Linux Mastery Express is given in the description below. It's designed to teach you Linux and take you from zero to hero within the shortest amount of time possible. You'll be using Linux like a pro within a matter of hours. so definitely check that out. Next up, check out LMD, which is a fantastic distro that comes from the makers of Linux Mint. It's taking the Linux world by storm and it's unlike anything you have seen it. So absolutely don't miss that. Alright, this is the next text signing out.